back to the Business Advisory stream sponsored by Reckon. It's now my pleasure to introduce our next presenter, Dean Martin. Dean is the CEO at PayVu, and he will be speaking about how you can turn accounts payable into a profitable, client-focused business. If you have any questions, please use our live discussion function on the right-hand side of your screens. Dean will attend to your questions either during or after his session. Thank you, and over to you, Dean.
Hi, I'm Dean Martin, CEO of InPayTech. We're a fintech focused on delivering secure and compliant payment solutions for bookkeepers, accountants, payroll managers, and other financial service providers. Many of you are already using one of our products, ClickSuper, which is a SuperStream and STP solution embedded in many of Australia's top payroll solutions. Today, I'm going to step you through our PayVu solution, which is completely focused on bookkeepers, accountants, and their customers, and really take you through how you can use PayVu to turn accounts payable into a profitable, client-focused solution. So when we developed PayVu, or in the development process of PayVu, I spoke to literally hundreds of bookkeepers, and what they confirmed for us was that they are already involved in the payments process. Interestingly, they're typically only making payments for a very select few of their customers, generally key customers or customers where they've got a long-standing relationship. And most of them aren't keen or don't want to provide a payment solution for their full customer set. So we have this interesting paradigm where employers, or small businesses, SME and SMB, are really looking for help in making payments. However, on the other side, we've got their bookkeepers and accountants, often their main partner in their business, that really is avoiding providing a payment solution for them. And that really begs the question, why? Why do we have all of these customers, all this pent-up demand, and why are only a small portion of those customers with this requirement, wanting a payment bureau, needing assistance payments, aren't receiving it? So, when you dig a bit deeper, as I said, most payroll, most bookkeepers, or many bookkeepers are involved in payments, but they offer it to a subset. Now, those practical issues really boil down to two things. So it's really that, look, they don't offer payments to all their customers for really what boils down to two key issues. One, it's around security, and the other is about the amount of time it takes to be involved in a payment process for the average customer. So on the security piece, the two themes or the two comments that emerged time and again was, look, I don't want to know my customers' banking credentials. And, in a world where cybercrime, for lack of a better word, is a multi-billion-dollar industry that engages a significant number of people whose sole focus is to steal data and to acquire money, steal money from bank accounts in payment processes, there is rightly a lot of nervousness around getting involved in payments and knowing other people's banking credentials. The second one, of course, that also came up a lot is that I don't want to export or email a banking file. So, and why is that? Look, most of you would know in this industry that banking files are editable. What I mean by that is the BSB and account number can easily be changed, and money can be moved to an inappropriate account really easily without anybody knowing. So, when you have an accounting system like Xero, you've got password protection, you've got multi-factor authentication, or two-factor authentication as they call it, and you also have audit log and access control. So, inside Xero, when you're changing account details, BSB and account numbers, there's notifications and there's an audit log to let you know that those changes have happened and indeed who's made them. As soon as you export the file, you lose that. You don't know if somebody has nefariously changed the destination BSB and account number on your desktop in transit when you're sending it via insecure email, or when it's arrived at the customer's desktop. So, you know, those two themes came through a lot, and some bookkeepers or accountants simply won't be involved in payments at the moment because of that. The other one that came up consistently was the amount of time it takes. And when you unpack the process and really look at what's involved for bookkeepers or accountants to assist their customers in making payments, there's a number of steps, and a lot of them involve a lot of low value contact with the customer. So there is a process that all bookkeepers and accountants go through to determine what this particular business owner wants to pay on this pay run. Results in the creation of a ABA, Australian Banking Association file, or a banking file. Then that is transferred either to the banking portal if you're in the unfortunate position of knowing your customer's banking credentials, or you email it to them. Now, what happens subsequently is that the bookkeeper needs to follow up with the business owner, the authoriser, to see what actually has been paid, so they can send the remittance advice. In that follow-up process, what is often discovered is that my payment priorities have changed for cash flow reasons, or because I'm waiting to be paid from one of my customers before I can disperse or make payments for my suppliers. And that really results in going back to, you know, from step 5, you'll often need to go back to step 1. Okay, well, we're not paying, you know, supplier A now, whether it's for cash flow, they haven't delivered, and a number of reasons like that. The other thing that many of you might know is that in Australia, the banking file, the ABA file, is dated. So payments can only be processed on the day that file has been created. That can only be processed on the day that's consistent with the date on the file. Now, if you get, in some instances, when you get the file up into the banking system, you can subsequently make the payments later. But if you've emailed it and it hasn't been uploaded and processed that day, you'll often again go back to square one. So there's a number of issues that you face in the current process with the current tools that are available. And it's really these reasons: security, rework, amount of time, and low value contact that prohibit or restrict the amount of customers that a bookkeeper or accountant will provide a payment service for. And that's really where PayVu came in. So, you know, after hundreds of discussions with bookkeepers and focus groups, we really understood that, or felt that we could deliver a automated solution and really start with a very simple thing, and that is a separation of duties. That's where bookkeepers and accountants do what they always do, which is manage the books, manage the accounting system. And in the payment process, really their role or your role is to recommend a payment. Let a business owner know when something's come due that needs to be paid, and subsequently recommend that to them. And that allows the customer to always maintain control over their bank account, and they choose when to pay. And what they do as the business owner is authorise payments. So PayVu, pretty simple app, very simple idea. Enforce a separation of duties appropriate and respectful for the roles that each participant in the payment process takes. The bookkeeper focusing on the books and aware of what needs to be paid, and the business owner knowing what they want to pay and what they're prepared to pay on this particular payment run. So the second step, and this is where you see more automation, is where all payments are on a single page. So I'll show you further in this presentation deck a view of what that looks like. But those that are familiar with Xero and other accounting systems will realise that you're navigating to multiple areas within the accounting system. One place to pay bills or invoices, another place to pay taxes, and yet another place to pay salaries and wages or super. What we've done, over and above reducing the steps and delivering automation, is to really bring that down to one page. So you can access, you've got a consistent process, the same process for all the type of payments that you can make out of accounts payable for your customers, and you've got a single view of what you're recommending for payment to business owners, authorisers. Now, once, from that single page view, the second step is really for the business owner, the person who's choosing what's going to be paid on this particular pay run and how much to pay away on this particular instance. So once a bookkeeper recommends payments from PayVu on the desktop app, a notification sent to the business owner who receive a notification, let them know there's payments that have been suggested by their bookkeeper, their trusted advisor, perhaps the other most significant person in their business from an accounting point of view. And this is the transformative part of PayVu. You'll see here that I have shown you that on this particular instance, we're paying the same supplier multiple times and even the same amount, but one of those I don't want to pay. So I can just swipe left, simply swipe left. Probably have to reverse it to be left for those watching. Just swipe left and that will remove that particular payment or that invoice from this payment run. And that's what transforms this whole process. You recommend as a bookkeeper everything that you believe needs to be paid, things that have fallen due. The authoriser, before they release the payments, can select from the recommended list and deselect anything that they don't want to pay on this particular payment run. We've got some other automation around it. So starting from that simple idea of a separation of duties, putting everything onto a single page, allowing the recommender to recommend everything they think that needs to be paid, and have a simple mechanism where the authoriser simply swipes left to remove any particular invoice, any particular pay run before processing the payment, really means that you pull out all that low value customer contact and you remove the rework, because only once the business owner, authoriser, has swiped right and decided this is what I am going to pay on this particular pay run, that we create the ABA file. And this is where the other automation comes in. We upload the ABA file securely to the bank. You're not exporting it. You're not needing to email it. You're not needing to know the customer's login credentials for their banking portal. Once the business owner agrees to the subset or the complete set of recommended payments that the bookkeeper or accountant has sent via PayVu, they swipe right. We upload that banking file to the banking system. We update Xero or the accounting system to let you know which items have been paid and which ones haven't been paid. And next time you come in to see this particular business owner's account or this particular account, you'll see what they have and haven't paid. You can recommend anything again that hasn't been paid that you feel needs to be paid. And you're done. Once the payments have been made, we'll also send the remittance advice. So what does that mean for a bookkeeper? Well, it really boils down to this. What used to take an hour, most bookkeepers in our discussions, it takes longer than an hour depending on the customer. They are saying it takes 2 minutes now. So what used to take me an hour to be involved in a payment process really goes down now to 2 minutes. And that's the scalable part of PayVu. So what we've done is looked at that process and said, look, if we can make this process simple, secure and efficient, there's no reason for bookkeepers or accountants to only offer a payment solution, a payment bureau, if you will, to a select group of customers who may have imposed that upon them because of long-standing relationships. They can now take that down to a 2-minute process and offer a full payment service to all their customers, super, salaries, invoices, taxes, all from a single page. So that means that what it also means is we remove the risk. You don't need to know the customer's banking credentials. You don't need to chase them and get agreement on what can be paid in this pay run. You don't need to chase them to see what payments have been released or have been processed. You don't need to recreate ABA files or banking files when there has been a change, cash flow constraint, or a change in the payment priority from that particular business or that business owner needing to wait for a payment to receive payment from one of their customers before they can pay away to their suppliers. You remove all of that complexity, you remove all of that low value contact, you enhance the security, and you make it a scalable process for the bookkeeper. So, and of course, you don't need to export editable banking files or send editable banking files. You don't need to concern yourself with anybody nefariously changing the BSB account number, the receiving bank for those payments. I should just highlight, before I jump to the next slide, what you see here is, as well as swiping left, when you reject a payment, you as the authoriser can let you know, oh look, I'll pay this one next week, or still waiting to receive that particular item before we pay it. Whatever the reason is, they can communicate that back via the app in the moment to you as the recommender, as the bookkeeper, as their business partner in the payment process. Now, what does it mean for the customer? And this is the other side of it. Unlike myself and most bookkeepers and accountants who are in front of a computer, unfortunately, most days, that a lot of business owners in construction, in retail, in hospitality, this is a side part of their job. They aren't in front of a computer all day, every day, and that's why they need assistance to see what payments are falling due, and they need an easy mechanism to make those payments. So PayVu is also transformative for your customers. They retain complete control of who's paid and when. They don't need to share their login credentials, their banking portal credentials with you. They can drill down into each individual payment. So you'll see here, however you digitize a invoice, that is available to, so you can be using Receipt Bank, you can use Hub Docs, that becomes available to the business owner. And this is really important we found that we needed to add that for our hospitality and construction customers, where it's very common for them to receive multiple invoices from the same supplier in the same day. And they may or may not be prepared to pay all of those invoices on a particular pay run. You as the bookkeeper might have recommended everything from a certain supplier, unaware that certain goods haven't been received yet, or that they need to pay a large supplier invoice on the back of receiving a payment from their customers. So being able to go down and see and remove particular invoices is very powerful, specifically and particularly for industries like construction, like hospitality, and that sort of thing. So getting down to that right level of resolution came on the other side of our discussions with business owners, SMEs, small medium enterprise, or SMB, small medium business, who are really looking for a way to make sure they pay everybody on time, but also maintain control and don't introduce unnecessary risk for themselves or for their trusted advisor, their bookkeeper or accountant. And of course, anywhere they have mobile phone coverage. So as I started on this slide, look, if you're an electrician, if you're running a cafe, running restaurants, and you receive notification, you can make an urgent payment very quickly in partnership with your bookkeeper, and you don't need to jump in front or step away from your day-to-day work, the thing that you probably have passion about doing to make sure that your suppliers are being paid on time. So we've spoken a bit about security, and I think it's important just to dive a little bit deeper into what we've done here. It came up a lot on both sides of the equation, speaking to small business owners, small medium business, SMEs, and to bookkeepers. So what we've done is not dissimilar to a lot of the leading or best practice in this space, and that is we have multi-factor authentication, what many of you will know as two-factor authentication. And all I mean by that is something I have, like my phone, which is not showing up very well there, and something I know, a PIN number. So we have in PayVu an additional MFA to really lock down the payment process. We open up a very small window, and let me describe that to you. Let's assume that a business owner's phone gets acquired. Let's assume that whoever's acquired that phone knows how to unlock the phone. So there's your first layer of security. Let's assume that they navigate to PayVu. Let's assume that they navigate to PayVu and know the PIN number. What can they do? And this is that very small window that I talk about. All they can do is accept, swipe right, or reject payments that have been recommended to to the business owner, to the owner of the phone, by the trusted advisor, their bookkeeper or accountant. Now, just talking about the journey that we've seen with many of our early adopters, as I said at the start, we discovered or we confirmed that bookkeepers and accountants are involved often in the payment process, but they only offer a payment solution to a subset of customers. So most of them will start with PayVu with one or two of their customers. Those that are moving off a clunky payment process that has security issues, that requires a lot of low value contact and often involves rework, they'll put that onto PayVu, and then they'll very quickly go from 2 customers to 15 to 20 and offer a payment bureau, a payment solution to all their customers, because virtually all their customers need assistance here and are just looking for a low cost, efficient way, low cost in time and in money, to really make sure all their suppliers get paid on time. They don't want to get home from a full day of work like you or I and, after dinner, sit down and work out who I need to pay. If that can happen in concert with my bookkeeper during working hours and it's easy for me to release it, they absolutely embrace it, and that's the really positive feedback we've been getting from our early adopters. So I mentioned earlier in the presentation deck that we have a single page view, so you're not navigating to multiple areas in Xero to be engaging in all payments. There are a lot of competitors out there that we have, but they really just focus on bills. There is, of course, as you know, if you're using a modern accounting system, you are navigating to one area to pay salaries and wages, another area to pay bills. With PayVu, you just simply drill down on each element that you want to pay, select the invoices you want to pay, select the pay runs you want to pay, select the super that you want to recommend. The authorizer then receives that recommendation or that notification, and all they need to do is follow that notification down, enter their multi-factor authentication, swipe left for anything they don't want to pay, and swipe right for anything they do want to pay. Excuse me if that's reversed. You're probably seeing a mirror image of me through the other side of this. But really what I'm saying here is that with starting with a simple separation of duties and really unpacking the issues that are involved in the current process and adding automation, we can really enable you as a bookkeeper or accountant to offer a payment bureau or a payment service to all your customers, put a lot of automation and additional security around that process, and make it a valuable, profitable service you can offer to all of your customers. So what's new this year? Many of you would know that when we first conceived PayVu, there was a little bit for us to learn, and we were really more focused on making it easy for the business owners, for the authorisers. And it's really those that directed us to, well, actually, my books and my accounts are managed by my bookkeeper or my accountant. If you could get them to let me know what needs to be paid, when it needs to be paid, but allow me to control what's paid and when it's paid, that's what I want. And that's what we've endeavoured, that's what we've delivered with PayVu. A couple of enhancements that I'd like to highlight that we have a partner integration with Xero now. What that means is that the system works a little bit slicker and a bit faster. And you'll also note that we got some quite colourful feedback around some of the challenges that those business owners, typically the authorisers, that aren't in front of a computer, aren't familiar with accounting systems, aren't necessarily using an accounting system or applications like PayVu all the time. So we really simplify that process to the point where a business authoriser, if they have all their credentials ready to go, can be up and running and making payments the same day you invite them onto the PayVu phone app. Of course, and again, I unreservedly or unashamedly steal this Tinder of payments idea. That was a term that one of our early adopters used. It really stuck with me and really helps you understand the most transformative element of PayVu, and that is the element of swiping. As simple as swiping. I'm not going to pay that one. I am going to pay the rest. And that really means that you pull out that requirement for all that low value customer contact. You remove rework from the process, and you really have the customer, the authoriser, in control of the bank account, and you quite rightly stay on the reserve and manage the books and the accounting system for them. And of course, as I said, when we were speaking to a lot of hospitality and a lot of construction and a lot of those sort of industries where there are multiple bills on the same from the same supplier in the same day and always in the same payment run, the ability to really go down and see specifically, this is what my bookkeeper, my trusted advisor, tell me needs to be paid now. So in summary, really think of PayVu as the receipt bank, or think of PayVu like receipt bank of payments, or the hub docs of payments, if you like, all the automation and those type of products, those type of applications brought at the front end of this process, which is to really remove low value data entry and enable you to focus on more high value tasks and to be more scalable and to keep keep your administration time to a minimum, and really empower your customer to do what they want to do, whether that's run a cafe, do roofing, all of the things they get in business for, and make payments on time for their suppliers easily. That's what PayVu has endeavoured to do. It's a really scalable solution that slashes time and effort for both the bookkeeper and accountant, and we're really proud of what we delivered, and would like you to have the benefits of PayVu. But look, don't take my word for it. We have been speaking to lots of our early adopters, and really they're telling us that the reasons they and their customers use PayVu really revolve around three key themes. The ability for the bookkeeper to offer a complete service, a valuable service, be involved in the payments process on a regular basis, but doing it in a scalable way. So that ability to offer a complete service is a key reason that some of our early adopters have taken up the solution. I've mentioned security a number of times, and I also mentioned there's that real barrier for some bookkeepers and accountants that simply wouldn't provide a payment service to their customers where they were compelled to either know the banking credentials of their customer or send an editable banking file where the BSBN account number can be changed on their desktop, in transit, or on the desktop of their customer. And that had actually happened to a few of them. I mean, when you speak to so many people, that's happened to a number of the bookkeepers and accountants we spoke to, which gave them, reasons not to be involved in payments moving forward. We've addressed that for them, and hopefully addressed it for any of you that have concerns about that. And the last one, I think is important. Look, when you think about the service as it was pre-PayVu and needing to know customer banking details, obviously it's somebody pretty senior in the accounting or bookkeeping firm that's involved in the payment. Your long-standing customers might trust you as the head bookkeeper, as the owner, or as a head accountant, or a senior accountant or a senior bookkeeper to have their banking credentials. But it's not something you can devolve to somebody else. You can't offshore it, because you're obviously not sharing your customers' banking credentials to anybody offshore or to anyone else in your team. So really, it's about removing that key person risk and enabling you and other senior members of your bookkeeping and accounting practice to focus on more value-added tasks for your customers and having a scalable solution. So those are some of the themes that emerged. I'm sure I look forward to the opportunity of speaking to more of you once you've used the service and understanding how it's transformed the way that you can offer a solution to your customers, or a complete bookkeeping and accounting service to your customers. So look, to that end, please do navigate to payvu.com. From there, you'll see that you can do a free 2-week trial. Would recommend that you do it for yourself, so you can go through the registration process as a recommender, the bookkeeper accountant side, and as an authoriser for your own business, the business owner and authoriser side of payments. And that way you can get a feel of how that notification process works and how to register. and you can also see the value it brings to you. Of course, 9 times out of 10, or 99 times out of 100 perhaps, you're simply recommending, and the business owner at the other end of the process is simply authorising or editing the recommendation list and releasing payments. But look, thank you for those that have made time to hear how PayVu can really turn accounts payable into a profitable and client-focused service. Look forward to having many of you as our customers. Please do navigate to our website, take a free trial. For those of you that need more, go to that same website, and we can also organise a demo for you via a webinar or via a Zoom style call, so you can do it in the comfort of your office at any time. Thanks all, and hope to see you and speak to you all soon and hear how you're using PayVu. Cheers.
Thank you, Dean, for that very enlightening and informative discussion. If anyone would like more information, please visit PayVu at the virtual booth, where you can access and download lots of great resources. You can also reach out to Dean directly for a one-on-one meeting. For now, please stay tuned for our next session.